This timeout is sponsored by Augie's Locker Room. Augie's features the largest collection of Notre Dame football memorabilia and gifts, including rare and hard-to-find items.
Hey, this is Augie, Augie's Locker Room. Website, augieslockerroom.com. Visit us here or the website.
Prister, Tim O'Malley, following Notre Dame's first practice of the preseason. This is actually take two. We tried to record outside. Got hit by a little bit of rain, so now we're inside Notre Dame Stadium. And before we get into the practice session, we had a full viewing of Marcus Freeman address the situation with Matt Bayless, Notre Dame's strength and conditioning coach, had stepped aside.
Yep. Coach Freeman mentioned he was surprised by the news, much less the timing, as we were. Got a phone call Sunday for personal reasons. Matt Bayless said he had to step away from the program. Fred Hale, as we decided, we were talking about earlier, it's not like they're starting from ground zero. He's going to continue the program as he learned from Coach Bayless, and of course he can start implementing his own plans in there, and then Fred Hale has a chance to interview for the job later. It's a good audition. You have an entire football season to audition. Now, nobody argues with an 11-1 football team and the strength and conditioning coach, right? So that would be his best audition for the job in the future.
Yeah, the question was, or the comment was, this is the worst time for this to happen. Actually, in some respects, it's kind of the best because the hay is in the barn leading into preseason practice, where the strength and conditioning staff kind of turns the players over to the coaching staff. And again, this isn't rocket science. Matt Bayless is a great strength and conditioning coach, but Fred Hale, who will take over, he has a background coordinating the Eastern Michigan strength and conditioning staff, and so they carry on. It's a huge loss. Matt Bayless is a great strength and conditioning coach, but you carry on the field. I think the most striking thing from my perspective was when they ran red zone, 20-yard line, 10-yard line, which is really all they did offense against defense. That was the DBs pretty much dominating the wide receivers, especially the first-team DBs against the first-team wide receivers.
Yeah, I started writing down when we went into the press conference some players to talk about today, and I thought Benjamin Morrison, cornerback, Cam Hart, cornerback, Jaden Mickey, cornerback, Clarence Lewis, cornerback, and then we realized, well, they won the day. And I thought the running backs had a good day also in a non-tackling situation. But, boy, Benjamin Morrison picked up where he left off. His interception of Sam Hartman on the slant was a pick six if he wanted it to be. He made a great play in the end zone against Tobias Merriweather. I think Merriweather has to catch that, but who am I to say when Benjamin Morrison jumps up and pokes the ball out at full speed, who should bring it down? But those guys had fantastic days. Jaden Mickey bounced back from getting beat once with a beautiful one-handed interception. I don't think that was his coverage. He dropped into coverage there. It was a great day for the corners, and we were saying it all summer. The cornerback's the best position. They were the best position today for sure.
Yeah, ways to go. And again, it's a veteran defensive backfield against a still learning, still young wide receiver core, and it showed today. I thought, last year at this time we were evaluating every throw that Tyler Buckner made and Drew Pine made to determine who's accurate and who isn't. We look at Sam Hartman in a little different way, obviously because of his past success. But when you add it all up, and again, this isn't a competition, Sam Hartman's a starter, I thought Steve Angeli played pretty well. He connected with a lot of the young receivers. Rico Flores was prominent. Jaden Greathouse was prominent. Braylon James made a tremendous stretching catch at the back of the end zone. Steve Angeli looked like the kind of player that you want prepared to come in if your starter goes down.
Yeah, so much so that Mickey's leaping interception, I was surprised when Angeli threw it. When I took a look back, as he was having such a good day, he outran Jalen Sneed to the outside. I thought that was important when you're running the read option, you're able to get to the outside. He just looked decisive. I was wondering coming in, will Angeli be caught by Minchie? Day one, he was not. Steve Angeli definitely looked the role of the quarterback they would go to next. It's good to see a good day from a backup, and Marcus Freeman actually said, Sam Hartman's our starter. We have not heard that at Notre Dame in a long time in July.
Yeah. Speaking of young players, Jeremiah Love is a guy that as soon as he walked, he didn't even have to run, Tim. As soon as he walked on the field, he was impressive. I saw he was wearing number 12, which I knew, and then you see him in person, and I'm not saying that he's going to be the next Ricky Waters, but you can't help but think, if you're old enough to remember that Ricky Waters wore number 12 in Notre Dame and remember the type of player that he was, that's the kind of player that Jeremiah Love looks like. His speed is, once he starts running, his speed is very, very obvious.
He just glides. I'm doing the defensive practice report, and Jeremiah Love, the running back, is in there at least 3 times because that's how impressive it was. I really thought all the running backs looked good today. Jabram Payne back-to-back touchdowns. Now, I know you're not getting tackled, but he catches a look pass for a touchdown. He goes off tackle for a touchdown. Devin Ford looks quick, too. I had to look down and check the number once to see if he was actually number 12 because he was listed as both. Then when you see Jeremiah Love run number 12, you know the difference there. But I really like the running backs today, and I asked Coach Freeman about it. If you just take Estime out of it, they're really inexperienced, but I think Notre Dame likes what they have there. And he mentioned they have 2 carries at Notre Dame among the backup running backs. And Jadarian Price looks good. Obviously, the test for Price is going to be as August and September go on, how that Achilles holds up.
Audric Estime is just he is outrageous.
There's business decisions being made when he comes downhill.
He just looks so good athletically, physically, heading into the season. I mean, the upper body of a linebacker. Yeah. He just looks fantastic. He trimmed down in the spring. He remains trim. He's going to be an outstanding again this year. Jadarian Price, we're all looking at him, wondering if he's going to go full speed and ready to go. He looked fine. I'm sure they will monitor. We asked Marcus Freeman about that, monitor him as he goes along. But it sounds like he hasn't had any setbacks over the course of the summer, and that's been good. And Devin Ford, I would agree, absolutely looks the part. Tim, who else would you like to comment on?
Well, I asked Coach Freeman about this because we saw obviously there's such a gap between the 3 graduate linebackers in Bertrand, Kaiser, and Leofau and the young players. And he said, we have to get the young guys involved. If that means once that trio has enough snaps in August, let's see what these guys can do with the ones, not with the twos. Because they can play with the twos, but you have to be able to see how they can fit with the ones when somebody goes down. And I just think it would benefit those 3 linebackers, 3 potential captains, quite a bit if they can really get legitimate backups for the first time in, it's been about 4 or 5 years since that's happened.
Only one player out today. That's freshman K.K. Smith, the wide receiver. He arrived in June. I don't think we were aware that he had shoulder surgery, but he was in a left sling. He looks like he's a long way away. He was moving pretty gingerly. But heading into the first practice today, there was just one player sidelined. It wasn't as hot today as we anticipated. It helped them. And I don't think it was an overly strenuous first practice. I think they, chose wisely in how they approached it. And we just had a rainstorm here to cool things off a little bit further, and we'll be back at it again tomorrow, Thursday. This has been Irish Illustrated's Instant Analysis.